I want us to be able to celebrate through expression and art, and I want us to be able to critically think and discuss society and media. So that's my goal. Are we down with that tonight?
Can someone define consent for us? Is anyone into trying? No, not at all. Okay, we have no idea.
I think there's like many ways you could define consent, but one way is the simple idea of permission. One person asking another person for permission to do something with them or to them. That's like one really simple way of describing it.
No, but I wrote down like the dictionary definition of consent, which might be good to foster a conversation. And it's actually a pretty bad definition, I think. Or at least needs some work. So let's see what Oxford Dictionary has. So they said permission for something to happen or agreement to do something. And I think there's just lots of parts missing. Maybe for me personally, I think maybe mutually assured enthusiasm is kind of something I'd like to add to that.
I'm Dee. My pronouns are she or her. For me, consent wasn't really part of my consciousness until I had experienced sexual assault myself, and then it became very much part of my consciousness. And I had used that experience to organize the Slut Walk for 3 years, which really focused on raising awareness around rape myths and rape culture and why consent is a really important part of the conversation. And then I ended up taking my case to trial. But a lot of those, when that happened, I started to realize just how little I knew about consent in so many aspects of my life, and really started to reflect on past experiences that I didn't really realize until later weren't entirely consensual. So I'm really happy to be part of this panel.
Hello, I am Desirée. My pronouns are she, her. And yeah, so many things are similar to the things that you've all said. Just also, I think the realization of the past, like when we were younger, like you were saying, in those teenage years, and kind of reflecting back and being like, wow, a lot of those things didn't feel right, and I know I'm definitely not the only one who feels that way, and just knowing 100% that I'm not the only one who feels that way, and wanting no one to ever feel that way again, kind of. And again, the thing of knowing that I don't want it to happen to me, and knowing that I don't want to do that to someone, and really thinking that I really like what you said about our behaviors haven't caught up yet. Like, that is such a beautiful way to put it, because we can have the best like intentions and stuff, but if we can't, if we're not ready to unlearn and learn and.
Okay. My name is Zeev. My pronouns are he, him. And unlike all of this, I haven't even hit my 20s yet, so consent's kind of always been a huge thing for my generation. And even though it's always been like a topic that's important and people always talk about it, like it's still like, if you say no, like you're not cool anymore. So like consent's like always talked about, but not really. It's like, it's just like a buzzword people say to feel woke, I feel, with my generation. So it's important to like actually like, it's not just what it is, like the word, it's like so much more.
You're wondering like, how do we ask for what we want or talk about what we want without that person feeling like there's a sense of pressure?
Yes.
To give you what you want. Because it makes sense, someone tells you like, I really like rim jobs.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's nice. I really don't want to give them a rim job. I love rim jobs. So, yeah, so I guess that is maybe sort of like one of the ideas is when asking somebody if they want to do a particular sex act or whatever it may be, or telling someone, maybe it is sort of like a telling, like, let's have a conversation about what we like. Like, oh, I like these things, I like that thing, but you're not saying, I like these things and you must give them to me. You're simply having a conversation with that person. You can sort of read their reaction, be like, oh, rim jobs, oh, that could be fun. So yeah, I guess like really trying to present things in like a fairly neutral tone. You could even say like, would you be into this particular thing? And then you'd be like, no. at least then there's not that strong sense of pressure.
Yeah, totally.
And I think even like that maybe with consent, that clarification about things that you would be willing to do for someone and things that you'd want done to you, and separating those two things. Because maybe your partner's like, you know, I don't really want a rim job from you, but I would do that for you if that's something you really wanted. So maybe breaking those things down as being maybe a giver and a receiver, and talking about what works for, you know, all people involved. I think that might be a helpful thing to look at desires and just be creative. I mean, self-pleasure is sexual as well, and maybe some of these needs can be met without a partner in a way that's satisfying as well.
Can I just note the difference between needs and pleasure? I mean, needs and desires. So when we're talking about consent, we're talking about the play and desire, not your needs. So if you need something, it is up to you to provide that or find someone that wants to participate in that need with you, but it's not up to maybe the person you're seeing or the 3 people you're seeing to get that need met. Does that make sense? But you can ask for desires and play within desire.
Just want to say that I'm really thankful for text messaging. Because especially when I'm first seeing someone, I actually feel really nervous about asking for what I want. And sometimes it actually is a lot more comfortable for me to propose something within a text message. And I also sometimes feel like it's easier as someone on the receiving end of that to maybe not have to be face-to-face quite yet and respond. My peach and eggplant emojis are my favorite.
There's like, I don't even know what it's through, probably like BuzzFeed or something, which is just like a news outlet article thing. But they have quizzes, and there's a quiz on a site like that where it's like all of these kinks and like just all of them that you could think of, and you click like, I want that, I don't want that, or like I would be, like maybe if the other person is like I might be, and then you like submit it with like your email or something, and then it sends you back the other person's answers, but only the ones that are yes or maybe, so you don't need to be embarrassed about like no's or anything. Not that you should be embarrassed about no's, but like it's like a really good like groundbreaker. I'm sure if you like Googled like kink compatibility quiz thing, it would come up, but it was really cool, and when I first found it, I made all my friends do it with me.
Do I have to ask to hug someone every time? There's some noises from the audience. Maybe the audience has a response to that.
Yes.
Yes! Yeah, I'm a hugger. I really, really like hugs. I'm a physical touch kind of person. And I still really try and ask every single time. And then even me as like a person who loves hugs, there are some days that I actually don't want to hug. So I really appreciate when people check in with me.
I actually am the opposite. I hate hugs most of the time, but at my work, my coworkers are so compassionate and amazing, and if I'm ever feeling down, I get asked like 3 times, like, do you need a hug? And I'm not say like, no, I don't need a hug, but that would actually be really nice right now. And like, just the thought of asking is like, you don't even need to do it. Now I know that you care that I'm under stress, and it's just like, the ask is more than the hug is, for me, because I don't love the hug, but it's good to know that people care.
It's interesting. I'm as a musician, I'm navigating. I really love hugs, but I don't always love them. And I find when I'm on stage and I'm kind of open and sharing, I've been really trying to learn my own boundaries with saying like, yes, I would like that hug. No, I would, and it changes with each person. It's, you know, it's kind of I'm on tour right now, and each show there's these different instances where someone will just kind of bombard me with a hug because I've opened up on stage. And so I'm learning kind of how to be like, yes, I love hugs, but like not right now, or not from you, or you know, and just learning to be able to say that. So I just wanted to share that because I've been trying to think of sharing things from this point of view, because so many things around consent have been happening in regards to like music and me being on stage, and so it's just been an interesting thing. But hugs is a huge one, because like the other day something happened and I let a hug happen, but I was like the whole time in my head I was like, this doesn't feel good, but I'm still in it, and I don't know yet how to say, this doesn't feel good. Like, you know, so, and am I allowed to say that? Am I gonna hurt their feelings? Are they gonna hate my music? It's like a whole, you know, it's a whole thing, so it's really interesting.
I think the hug thing is like a really big thing for me, especially around teaching kids about consent. Because I see parents a lot of the time, if somebody does something nice, they're like, oh, give them a hug, it's polite. And I think that it teaches kids from a young age not to listen to their own bodies when things don't feel right. And I think that's like a really big way that we can have conversations about consent from a really young age with kids, of like respecting how they feel and like teaching family members to respect how the child feels if they don't want to give them a hug.
Like as a cis male and identifying as masculine, I think learning about consent, I always learned that when I was learning that and bringing that into my relationships, it was something that I had to ask and provide for other people, but I never thought about that for myself. Like I never thought, oh, do I have to consent to this activity? Because that script of masculinity is if someone's offering me something sexual, well, take it because that's what a man is supposed to do, right? It took me a long time to realize and reflect on dating situations and intimate relationships where I was like, actually, I wasn't okay with that. I didn't like that. But at the time, it was so far from, the gender script that, fit who I felt I was, to realize that I also had to give consent as well. So I think maybe in kind of the stereotypical or traditional sense of masculinity, it's really far from how we see ourselves. And also admitting that you may be a survivor or you've had an unconsensual experience is also really difficult because again, that's not something that fits with that script.
I have like this weird sober identity that I'm attached to, that I'm like, I don't really do drugs or drink sometimes, it's weird. But she really pointed out to me 2 years ago, being like, there's people that are addicts and they deserve pleasure and connection. And I'm like, whoa, fuck yeah, of course. So like, how do we navigate or like through substance use, because there are people that can't be sober, or in whatever sober, like caffeine is not us being sober really. So one thing that I'm gonna just take this question because I've been working on this. So how to navigate connection through substance use. Knowing your body and what substance you're on and knowing your limits. So if you're like me, I get really fucking wasted after 3 glasses of wine. Like I am just schmammered. So I know that about my body, and so I can communicate that. If I'm meeting up with someone and we're going out for drinks, like we can talk about like, yeah, what's your substance use and like how does that work for you and mine, and then we can like talk about like, hey, what are we into tonight exploring? Maybe there's like a blanket consent, like, oh, we're going out dancing, you could touch my body like while we're dancing in a sexy way. I'm totally into that. And then there's like the fuck no list. Like we're not doing that as much as we get drunk or high or whatever it is. And then you find out like, so if I have 3 drinks and I'm smashed, my 1.5 drink, you check in again, and then maybe someone else is like, they have 4 or like 8 beers or something. So when they're at 4 beers, you check in again, being like, okay, how's our blanket thing that we said that we want to do? What's our like fun exploring thing? And then the fuck no stays the fuck no. Even though you might be like a little like more, ooh, maybe I would want to try that now. Just keep it as your fuck no. And so that's maybe a particular harm reduction type of way to go through a consensual-ish experience with someone that is using a substance. Does anyone have anything to add to that or critique?
Yeah, I had actually had a previous partner who dealt with some pretty major substance issues, and I just found that it was one of the things that would happen is that he would use in secret, or I wouldn't know that he was under the influence.
Yeah.
And that made things really, really challenging, especially when it came to sexuality. So I just don't know that there's any right answers for that question, because addiction is really complicated.
Super complicated. Yeah. And like you know your boundaries. Like you said, like I just won't touch that. And that's totally amazing. And each of us will have to come to like a thing that we're comfortable with engaging with folks.
it's not easy, like what you were saying earlier about it's a gray fucking area. Like we all kind of like, yeah, we know what sexual assault is. Okay, let's not do that. And then there's this whole gray area that we're just like trying to figure out together. We also have to realize that our desires are pretty fluid and they change a lot. And there's many practices that we can come up with, but I think there's like a 3-step process sometimes. It's like tuning into your desire. How do you be honest with yourself about it? Oh gosh. Yeah, okay. And then communicating that to your partner or partners. So it's like kind of a process of like, okay, how do I actually figure out the desires? And I'm not gonna give you like a step right now, but like meditating, self-pleasure, trying new things, creating safe environments for yourself to like be creative and read different erotica or look at different porn and see what turns you on. Yeah, and then being honest with yourself about that and then trying to communicate that.
Tricky. And while I could go on and on about these unsolicited dick pics, I think there might be something better that we could do together tonight. Let's celebrate the art of a magnificent, a horrific, exciting, beautiful dick pic. How do we feel about that?
Yeah.
So, first things first, I would like to ask the audience, what makes a good dick pic? Angles.
Lighting.
Lighting. What else? Lighting? Yeah, what else? Silliness. Oh, you're getting all of them. That's so amazing. Pardon? Props. Well, I might have a prop. Yes, great. Smiley faces? Like, what do you mean, like on the penis? Yeah.
Googly eyes.
Googly eyes! Next level, yes!
The death grip around it.
The death grip? Also, I would like to point out, not having your dirty laundry, or like if it's a selfie, like maybe clean your mirror first. That could be a good thing. Yeah, what else?
Best dick pic is one you ask for.
Oh, sexy. Yeah. The best one is when you ask for one. Yeah, that's really good. So, you're all professionals. So, I'm wondering if you could help me create tonight the perfect dick pic. Yeah? So, what I want to do is I'm going to whip out my penis, and we're going to do this together. Are we into that? Yeah? So, can we chant together? What's up there? Penis! 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 Yes, good. How can I? Oh yeah. So sometimes. So here's the thing about some dick pics. You really gotta decide if you really want the balls in the shot. Sometimes when they're just like awkward and you might want to like hide them or just get rid of them. Maybe? Yes. Oh. Now we can see your full shaft. Isn't that beautiful? All of the comments to make a really great dick pic. So we're gonna go through this. So lighting, we've got some really good lighting. Yeah, we're okay with this atmosphere? Yeah? Okay, great. What about angles? I want some angles. Oh, do you want to? Oh, I also have this penis to, do your selfie thing. Yeah. Okay, so angles. What kind of angles do we want here?
From the bottom up.
From the bottom up.
Salon do that, right?
Oh. Okay, it's like, oh. Okay, we got some angles. And someone said make it fun or be silly or have costumes, yes? Maybe adding a mustache. Yes! Another one, I did a lot of research about dick pics in the past couple weeks to put this show together. And I would like to say that it's not all about the hard erection all the time. Sometimes you want like a half C. Half chub. Something like that. Right? It can be fun. So, like you folks have already said, the best kind of dick pic is when you ask first, yes, yes, and when someone responds, dick please. So,